Hi everyone, I'm Heather. Thanks for joining me for this video today. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming travel content. Today, I am filming this video on Friday, March 19th, 2021 from my hotel room at the Hampton Inn McCormick Place in Chicago. We have been at Chicago since Tuesday? Yeah, since Tuesday, and we are in the hotel room for tonight, except that I'm going to run and get dinner, and then we are driving home, which is about 5.5 hours away, tomorrow on Saturday. So this is the end of our trip. So if you haven't yet watched our Shedd Aquarium video, I will link it right up here. That is where we got cute little Beethoven the beluga over here. Isn't he adorable? That is what we did for the first half of today. So go back and watch that so you can kind of catch up on what we were doing. After we left Shedd Aquarium, which there were quite a few reasons why we chose to leave Shedd after such a short time. We only spent, what, 2.5 hours there? Is that about right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2.5 hours there and we were done. Megan and Ben left me sitting on a bench so I could rest my poor feet and my sore ankle. And they took the stuff that we bought, which I talked about in the Shedd Aquarium video, 3 t-shirts, a snow globe, and Beethoven the beluga, back to the car, which was walking distance away, but it was a long walk away because we didn't have a bag or anything, and we obviously didn't want to carry that stuff around or put it in a locker, which we would not have been able to do because there were no lockers available at the Field Museum. And so they walked and put that stuff in the car. They walked back to me, and then we went into the Field Museum. Okay, here's the deal with the Field Museum. We got into the Field Museum for free because we are members of the Science Museum of Minnesota, and that is part of the Passport program, and we get into a whole bunch of science-related museums all over the world for free with our passport. And so we had to go in a different line. We explained that to the person who was checking people in. We had to go into a different line. She's like, okay, just go over there. We only had to wait a couple minutes, and I showed the guy my Science Museum membership card, but it showed it expired in February, and so then I showed him the email on my phone that they had sent me saying your membership has actually been extended for 7 months till September because they were closed for the pandemic. And he said no problem, printing me out 3 tickets. He asked did I want any extra experiences today, and I said no thank you, and we were in lickety split, no problem. So didn't have to pay a thing for the Field Museum. That is one of the great benefits of the Field Museum to us. I could have also gotten into the Museum of Science and Industry, which we went to on Wednesday for free, and I'll link that video right up here. However, they probably could have done something similar as what they did at the Field Museum, but I ended up going ahead and paying for those tickets and buying them ahead of time because when I called the Field Museum from home and explained the situation, I said, I know I'm supposed to buy tickets online ahead of time, but since I'm a member of this museum, how do I do that? And she said, that's no problem. She said, our attendance has been down significantly, so it's no problem if you just show up and, just walk in and explain that and we'll let you in. But when I asked her, what do you think it's going to be like at the Museum of Science and Industry? She said, that might be a different situation. I would definitely say that the Museum of Science and Industry is a much more popular museum than the Field Museum just in normal times. And also, they have the special Marvel exhibit going on right now, and there was definitely a lot of interest in that. We couldn't get tickets to the Marvel exhibit because they were sold out until the end of April. And so I didn't want to risk not being able to get into the Museum of Science and Industry, and I also wanted to buy additional tickets to the dome film that we went to there. So I ended up paying the money to buy the tickets, even though I probably could have gotten in free. Probably could have done it when we got there, but it was definitely a lot busier at the Museum of Science and Industry when we went on Wednesday than it was at the Field Museum today. Okay, so we got into the Field Museum, we stopped at the bathroom, we found somebody to ask if there were lockers. Unfortunately, they said no. And so we did end up having to carry our jackets around with us. I mean, that proved to be less of a hassle than I thought it was going to be. I mean, thankfully, the jackets we had with us were not that heavy. It wasn't like we were carrying winter coats. And both the kids were actually able to tie theirs around their waist. So I was actually the only one that was carrying mine. It wasn't that big a deal. We stopped and sat and rested on benches a lot because our feet were getting really sore from all the walking we've done this week. And so then I would set my coat down and it was fine. Then the first thing we did was get lunch because what was that place called? It was the one on the main floor. There's 2 other places you can eat in the Field Museum, but both of those were closed. And I think it was the same situation at Shedd Aquarium. They normally have like 3 places you can eat, and 2 of the 3 were closed. So the one that's on the main floor, right off to the side of the main entrance lobby, was open, and we were able to get lunch there. And I'm going to go ahead now and put in the footage I took at the museum, starting with us having lunch right here. And then I will come back to you at the end and give you kind of an overview of the rest of the time. Okay, we're at the Field Museum, and we found this little table all by ourselves in the corner in this stairwell. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. If you haven't watched the video about the Shedd Aquarium, you're going to understand why we're eating lunch this late. We're pretty much ready to pass out because we're so hungry. Megan got a pepperoni pizza. Ben and I each got hot dogs with fries. I got a Pepsi. The kids are so thirsty. We got 1 slice of chocolate cake to share, and the kids each got juice and basically already drank it all because they're so thirsty. That's a real problem with the pandemic. First of all, because you have your mask on all the time, you kind of get dehydrated. And also we're walking around.
You just do get dehydrated.
Yeah. Also walking around a lot, you get dehydrated. But all the water fountains are off or closed, and you can't get water at all. And you can't take your mask off to drink anything, even if you like carried around a water bottle or something. So that's a problem. We've been getting kind of dehydrated. And then the other thing I want to say about this food was this was much more reasonable than the meal we had at the Museum of Science and Industry. And she asked me if I was a member, and I said, not here. I'm a member of the Science Museum of Minnesota, and she gave me my discount anyway. So that was really nice. And so it was only like 30, 31? Yeah, so totally reasonable. Yeah, no kidding.
What's the line that they're all looking
The water thing? Oh, yeah. Geese. Oh dear gosh. Wait, there's 2 directions. Which way do we go? Yeah. So I thought these elk were huge, and then I turned around. Look at the moose. These are humongous. They're way taller than us. Bears! We love bears.
Well, look at these. Look at them go around.
Yeah, they do. Polar bears. Oh, it's a mama protecting her cubs from a male polar bear. Oh my goodness.
You thought the moose was big.
I thought the moose was big. This grizzly
Is
is absolutely massive.
like 12 meters.
That is huge. Go stand next to it, Ben, so I can show. Look how tall it is compared to Ben. That is wild. What's over here? Bison.
Bison and whatever.
Muskox. This is really cool. I love this.
Oh. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure orcas are much smaller than that. Have you seen through them?
What is that?
It's a whale.
No, that.
No, we were talking about that.
So the main things we did at the Field Museum of Natural History were we walked through a lot, but definitely not all of the, what would you call those, animal dioramas?
Yeah.
Yeah. We went through, that thing goes on forever. We felt at a couple of points we're like, are we ever going to get out of here? And it was kind of confusing, like, which way are we supposed to go? I think it takes up one whole half of the main floor. That's probably the biggest exhibit in the museum, honestly. And so we spent a lot of time in there. We really enjoy those, but I mean, we saw plenty of it. And then we didn't go to anything on the lower level. The only things on the lower level are an insect thing, like underground something, and ancient Egypt. I thought the kids might want to see ancient Egypt, but Megan said ancient Egypt scares her.
Scares me.
Yeah, she says it's actually kind of scary to her, so we didn't do that either. On the main floor, so like I said, one whole half is like all those animal diorama things. And they're real animals. They're all taxidermied. But those are really cool to look at. If you've ever been to the Bell, if you're from the Twin Cities area, the Bell Museum of Natural History, we've been to before, and that's kind of the same thing, but just smaller. The other stuff on the main floor was Ancient Americas. Ancient Americas, and then there's a special temporary exhibit on women warriors, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. We did not go into either of those. Then on the upper floor is all the gems and the jade and plants and all the dinosaur stuff. And there's a special extra charge exhibit on China. The things we went into on the upper floor, we went into the gems and the jade hall, and we went through the plants. And so we didn't go into the dinosaur stuff, and we couldn't go into the China thing because we didn't have a ticket for that. The things I enjoyed the most about the Field Museum were, it was free. It's a beautiful, beautiful building. All 4 of these museums that we went to while we were here, the Museum of Science and Industry, the Art Institute of Chicago, Shedd Aquarium, and the Field Museum of Natural History, are in absolutely architecturally stunning buildings. They're just the buildings that house these museums themselves are a work of art. They're absolutely beautiful. We took a lot of pictures. I mean, we spent a lot of time admiring the buildings that these places are in. They're really quite impressive. The other thing I really liked about the Field Museum was that we were able to get lunch, even though we didn't have lunch until like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and we felt quite safe. The setup of the food situation at the Field Museum was definitely much better than the setup at Shedd Aquarium. And then the other thing I really liked about the Field Museum is that place is massive. It is so big and so spread out, and I mean, it's just humongous. That crowding and distancing was a non-issue at that place because I never felt uncomfortable there at all. Did you guys?
I did at some point.
Where?
Well, when there was like, kind of like on the stairs.
Maybe on the stairs, yeah. I mean, but overall, it was so much easier to keep your distance from people at the Field Museum than any place else we went. And also because I think it was just overall much less crowded. But I don't know. That place is so huge. There could have been just as many people in there and you just couldn't tell because they were spread all over the place. Although I would say, based on what they told me when I called, that attendance is down and so I could just show up. And then also we couldn't figure out how to enter the plant exhibit. When we went to the plant exhibit, it said exit only. And so I finally, and we walked all the way down to the other end of the building and we couldn't find the entrance. And I looked at the map and it looked like it was just like right here. And I'm like, well, how do you get into it? And so I actually asked some people coming out of the plant exhibit, did you guys just come out of the plants? And they said, yes. And I said, how did you get in? And they said, we went in through the China exhibit. So they had tickets to the China exhibit and they said, we weren't expecting that. It came out into the plant exhibit. And so I went over to the guard guy that was sitting outside the China exhibit to scan people's tickets going into China and said, how do I get into the plant exhibit? And he's like, there's nobody in there, just going backwards. He's like, just go in through the exit, it's fine. And so that's what we did. We went in and went all the way to the back of it where it joined up with the China exhibit and then walked all the way back out again. That's what we had to do. And there was like nobody in there. There was like, we passed like one group of people. So it was very nice and spacious. I felt the safest. Another thing I liked about the Field Museum, they have a whole bunch of really comfortable benches to sit on everywhere. They have lots and lots of benches, which is really nice. So again, lots of stair climbing, but really only, I mean, there's 3 levels and you can easily do, you do one whole level, level 2. So you really only have to go up and down like once. Whereas I feel like at the Art Institute, at Shedd Aquarium, and at the Museum of Science and Industry, you have to go up and down and up and down and up and down multiple times. And so I definitely feel like I did more stair climbing and going up and down at the other 3 museums than we did at the Field Museum. That was kind of our experience there. And we ended up spending, we probably spent about the same amount of time in both Shedd Aquarium and the Field Museum. And we kind of, picked and chose. We took the things that we really wanted to see and skipped the rest. And I kind of feel like unless you plan to spend the entire day at one of those places from open to close, that's kind of what you need to do when you go to big museums like that in big cities, is look at the map, look at what they have to offer, and discuss it and say, I really want to see this and this. What do you want to see? And then go see those things. And then if you get to anything else and your feet aren't, dead, go ahead and it's considered a bonus, but you know, don't try to kill yourself trying to see every single thing because it would take forever. If you enjoyed this video today, please be sure to give me a thumbs up down below. Again, if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, I encourage you to please subscribe so you don't miss any of our upcoming travel content. Thank you for joining me for this video today, guys. Have a great day and safe travels.